The shepherd's field that appears in the Bible today is called Beit Sahour. And Beit Sahour is one of the most important Palestinian Christian communities. And now what Israel is doing there is starting a new colonial settlement, not even in the outskirts of the city, but actually inside the city, in one of the very few areas left in all of the Bethlehem governorate for Palestinian Christians. Now, what we are witnessing in the Bethlehem area is that through different processes, Israel has managed to bring over 100,000 settlers into the Bethlehem area surrounding the birthplace of Jesus Christ from north, south, east, and west. It is not about coexistence between Israelis and Palestinians. It's about the replacement of Palestinians with Israel's colonial settler enterprise. So it affects all aspects of life. So there are many ways that Israel has to expand those colonial settlements that, by the way, it can go through the use of state land for the expansion of settlements to the expropriation of Palestinian property. Sometimes they expropriate and they say it's for military use, and then eventually the military use is handled to Israeli settlers. Like, for example, it happened in Mount of Olives in occupied East Jerusalem, with the guards of what the Israelis refer to as the border police. And today is a new settlement called Ma'ale Hazadim. But also it affects the chances Palestinians have in general, and Christians in particular, to access services or to expand their own communities. In other words, colonial settlements are a kind of death certificate for the indigenous Christian presence of the Holy Land. So what we face, for example, are dozens of Israeli settler attacks, like for example what we found in Taibe, north of Ramallah, in also another Palestinian Christian community. But also literally terror attacks committed by Israeli settlers, whereby they would burn churches or mosques, they would attack olive groves, they would kill Palestinian sheep and cows, they would attack Palestinian farms, they would send all sorts of messages in order for Palestinians to leave their land. If Israel succeeds to build that illegal settlement in Beit Sahour, this is a death sentence for Beit Sahour itself. Now, you can imagine that families, they get married, they have children, and now literally there is no space in Bethlehem for people to continue expanding. So prices are much higher, and since people cannot really afford to buy homes or land in the area, and most of the land has been already expropriated and taken by Israeli settlements, this is an encouragement for people to leave. It's totally the contrary to what our Christian faith should represent, which is about justice, and it's eventually about peace. But first, it's about justice. And it should matter, second, because what Israeli occupation is doing is eliminating the prospects of peace in the region. And eventually, it's also eliminating the prospects of a future for the indigenous Christian population, the oldest Christian community worldwide, that according to John Paul II, that we are probably the descendants of the shepherds that took care of Jesus Christ when he was born here in Bethlehem, a few meters from where we are.